In southern Kenya, where the air is thick with dust and the earth cracks from the heat, Lucas was driving home along an old country road. He volunteered at an animal shelter and knew what suffering looked like. But on this day, everything was different. At first, he thought it was just a strange shadow by the road. But when he got closer, his heart broke. Right by the side of the road lay a young elephant calf, dirty, emaciated, barely breathing. Its ears were pressed against its head, and its breathing was barely audible. Lucas jumped out of the car. He knew that approaching an elephant was always risky. There could be adults around, ready to defend it, but there was no one there. The deserted plain stretched to the horizon. No tracks, no cries, no footsteps. The baby elephant was alone. He knelt down beside it. He put his hand on its side. Its heart was beating, but weakly. Apparently, the baby had fallen behind the herd, couldn't stand the heat, or maybe it had simply been abandoned. Lucas took out a flask and carefully dripped water onto the animal's lips. The baby elephant barely moved. From that moment on, Lucas knew he couldn't leave it. He couldn't just drive on and forget about it. He had to do something. He took out his phone, but there was no signal. The nearest village was almost 40 kilometers away. There was no choice. Lucas returned to the car and took everything that might be useful: a towel, a first aid kit, and some more water. He decided to stay, and although the sun was beating down mercilessly, Lucas sat down next to the baby elephant, covered it with shade, and began to feed it drop by drop, not knowing if it would survive until evening. The sun burned relentlessly, the sand scorching beneath his feet. Lucas knelt beside the dehydrated baby elephant, struggling to contain his despair. He poured the last drops of water into its mouth, whispering, "Don't give up. You're strong." The silence was suddenly broken by a faint vibration underfoot. Lucas froze. Massive silhouettes appeared on the horizon. It was a herd of elephants. They walked quickly, as if they knew where they were going. One of them, an adult female, came closest. She gently touched the baby with her trunk. The herd surrounded the child. One began to fan him with its ears. Another brought a bunch of green grass. The baby elephant twitched and opened its eyes. It began to breathe slowly. Lucas stood aside, not believing his eyes. He had done everything he could, and now he saw that even in the desert, miracles could happen. The female elephant looked up at Lucas. Her gaze was almost human. There was no fear or aggression in it, only calmness and understanding. And at that moment, Lucas realized that he had become part of something bigger. These animals understood that he had tried to save one of them, and now they were continuing his work. Night quickly fell over the savannah. Lucas couldn't take his eyes off what was happening in front of him. The little elephant, surrounded by the herd, began to move his trunk, slowly but surely. He was breathing faster. One of the adult males stood next to him and leaned over, as if protecting him from the world. But Lucas knew that wasn't enough. The baby needed a doctor, an IV, medicine. Otherwise, it simply wouldn't survive the night. He took out his radio. The signal was intermittent, but he didn't give up. "Urgent evacuation needed. I found the baby. It's alive." There was no response. He turned on his flashlight, raised it high, and pointed it at the sky. Maybe someone would see it. The elephant nearby was frightened and backed away, but the female came closer again. She stood between Lucas and the baby, and suddenly allowed him to touch the elephant calf. It was a sign. He felt that they trusted him. There was a light in the distance. Lucas squinted. Headlights! The helicopter couldn't land, but the team in the SUV had made it. The medic jumped out first and connected the portable resuscitation system. Lucas stepped back, wiping away tears. He had made it. And the elephants were still standing nearby, motionless. They were watching. The baby elephant lay there, barely breathing. Its skin was parched from the heat, its eyes barely open. The medics worked quickly but carefully. One held its trunk out of the way, another set up an IV drip with saline solution, and a third treated its swollen leg. It was like an operating room, only without walls, under the open sky, where the main spectators were wild elephants. It seemed as if nature itself had frozen in anticipation, allowing humans to intervene in its course. Lucas, still in shock from what he had seen, did not leave Kay's side. He felt anxiety and hope battling inside him. One of the adult elephants took a step forward and gently touched Lucas's shoulder with its trunk. He turned and froze. It was like a sign of trust. He didn't know how to interpret the gesture, but tears came to his eyes. While the medics worked, Lucas began talking to Kay, as if to cheer him up. "You'll be fine, kid. We're here. You're not alone." His voice trembled, but it was full of tenderness. No one expected an ordinary ranger to become the center of such an unusual story. A few minutes later, the medics finished administering first aid. One of them turned to Lucas and nodded. "He's stable. There's a chance." The elephant immediately came closer and wrapped her trunk around the baby, gently pulling him toward her. Lucas stepped back, giving her space. He knew that now the main thing was not to interfere, but deep down, he felt that he had become part of something much bigger than just a rescue operation. The next morning, Lucas returned to the valley. The sun was just rising, bathing the savannah in warm golden light. The air was cool and fresh, and everything around him looked new. He found the elephants not far from where it had all happened. Kai was standing on his feet, unsteadily but confidently. His mother did not leave his side, and the herd formed a semicircle around them, as if guarding their little warrior. Lucas didn't come close. He stood at a distance, just watching. But at one point, Kai looked straight at him and took a step toward him. Just one. Then he stopped. Lucas smiled and simply nodded. That was enough. The connection remained, and it changed them both forever. Later, back at the station, Lucas wrote down everything that had happened in his observation log, but no words could convey what he felt. It wasn't just a life saved. It was a reminder. Even in the harshest conditions, nature and humans are capable of hearing each other, if they want to. Several weeks passed. Kai had fully recovered and was already running confidently among the herd, playing with the other calves. He had become the curious, cheerful elephant he had been before the tragedy. But now there was a new depth in his eyes, as if he had understood something after experiencing something that not everyone is given to experience. Lucas often visited them, but no longer approached them. He stood aside, watching nature take its course. Every time Kai glanced in his direction, Lucas felt a warmth spread through him. He knew that they were no longer just a man and an animal. They were something more. Kay's story soon spread around the world. It was told in schools. It inspired volunteers. It was used to raise funds for wildlife conservation. But for Lucas, it was more than just a story. It was a moment when man and nature became closer, where a single gesture, extending a trunk or a hand, changed lives forever. Thank you for watching until the end. Please like and subscribe to our channel to support us. See you next time.